we have Jeremy Perkins and Frank Aziz. So Jeremy Perkins is with Precision Medical Product, and he's ranked by the Sacramento Business Journal as the #1 fastest growing company in the Sacramento region. Precision Medical specializes in launching new medical products with sales managers and service specialists in 32 states. They were able to launch new medical products quickly and effectively. PMP specializes in durable medical equipment, medical device, surgery centers, and hospital equipment. Most importantly, they hold their own billing contracts with hundreds of insurance carriers nationwide. In 2018, PMP was nominated by the Sacramento Business Journal for the Innovation Award in the medical product category. Jeremy was the winner of the 40 Under 40 Awards for most influential leaders and entrepreneurs in the Sacramento region. So we're very excited to have Jeremy. Interviewing Jeremy will be the founder of Capcom, and also the owner of Linked MBA, and that's Frank Aziz. So with over 20 million views of his LinkedIn content and a successful podcast, Frank is an emerging social media influencer. He has trained dozens of corporate clients on how to use LinkedIn to build an effective sales funnel. And he's a regular speaker at live events on social media, branding, and sales strategies. Frank is also the developer of, again, linkedmba.com, training programs, and a principal in Linked Media. Without further ado, let us turn this over to Mr. Frank Aziz with Jeremy Perkins. Gentlemen, welcome.
Jeremy, why don't we start with your background and how you're in the business you are today?
So, Precision Medical Products, I formed the company in my garage 10 years ago, and we started off with, I was already in the medical space, so we just focused on orthopedic surgeons. Through that process, just like I know about half the on this call are entrepreneurs and half are, sounds like investment bankers, roughly. But from an entrepreneur perspective, I always just wanted to start my own company and create my own thing. So me and Frank talked about it from back in the day. I had a door-to-door sales background from college, and before I graduated college, I had about 100 other college students under me that all did door-to-door, and I was making good money in college, and I kind of liked that whole building a sales organization. So I went and became a stockbroker out of college because I wanted to build my own stock firm, and I despised the financial service industry. I still despise it to this day, and it wasn't for me. It wasn't my personality, and I wasn't very good at it. Out of 53 stockbrokers in my region, I was ranked either number 52 or number 53 every single month. So I left that. I had some good friends in medical that loved what they did. They loved helping patients out, and so I interviewed. It's kind of funny for people from a LinkedIn perspective. I sent my resume out to, I think it was 350 companies. I got 5 interviews, and I got told no by 4 companies. I still have an email from a guy named John Wilhelmy from 14 years ago that said like all the reasons why they wouldn't hire me. I was like the 3rd interview, and it motivated me like that whole time. I was like, so when I went in, I went into an orthopedic company, worked for them, and had no medical experience. And the irony is, like, and this is kind of one of the things that's helped us. It's something good for you guys to know on this call from a medical perspective. I would take somebody with really good sales skills. So when I came in the industry, my sales skills were pretty good. I built those out from a door-to-door perspective. Basically, I went into medical device. I'm super passionate about medical. I love being in the medical space. It fires me up that every day we get to help patients. We get to save lives. In the last 10 years of our company, we've saved the lives of over 300 people. That's just because our main product is blood clot prevention. So we help. We have a sequential compression device that goes around the calf. It helps pump blood to a patient's body. We have the patents and technology. We developed ourselves for a take-home units instead of in the hospital. You know, after surgery, when you're in a hospital bed, surgery, you have that pump that hooks up to your leg. We developed a proprietary. Is it going good, Frank?
Oh, good. Go ahead.
Okay. So we developed proprietary technology, basically that has a unit that goes with the patient at home. Through the development of that technology and sales, we grew from a company that started in a garage 10 years ago, and now the company's worth a little bit over $100 million. We're gonna launch in the next gosh, 45 days, we're launching remote patient monitoring with our unit, and we're expecting our company to raise that $200 to $300 million number, just because of remote patient monitoring and the reimbursement codes associated with our product. It's the way of the future, and it's something that we're really excited about. So that's a quick recap of the last 10 years. Like you said prior, we've won medical innovation awards, patents, but in the very beginning, if there's like entrepreneurs on the call, the first 2 to 3 years was really built around just selling. We sold other people's products, other people's technologies. We built the distribution channels and took it from there.
So you're at a $100 million valuation right now. But what were some of the challenges you had to overcome, in your journey?
Yeah, I'd say every entrepreneur runs if you started coming from scratch. In the very beginning, I was a sales rep, a sales manager, a recruiter. We brought in some operational people right away and grew it. But we actually were pretty freaking good at selling. And the biggest restraint we had, so I did a CEO program at Harvard and a 3-year program I just finished at MIT. And there's a quote they say in the CEO programs. They say, more companies will die of indigestion than starvation. And what that means, you can grow too fast sometimes. So that's kind of what we ran into those first couple of years. We were growing so quick, and we almost like outsold ourselves a couple of times. So like as a young entrepreneur, the financing, raising capital, I still own, to this date, I still own 100% of my company. We didn't bring in any equity partners for 10 years of the company. And we just used debt financing the whole way as we scaled the company. And partly in the beginning, we didn't have any investors interested. I probably would have maybe looked at capital raises, but it was just kind of like we didn't have any investors. So the biggest challenge I had was just finding, getting Wells Fargo in the beginning to give us a $100,000 line of credit, then $200,000, and slowly just raising it. And just, yeah, that was probably the number one biggest challenge, is getting money.
And right now, what does your sales team look like? How big is it right now?
Oh, the sales team? We actually, I know a lot of people are cutting back in the last 3 months. We've actually hired 24 new people in the last 3 months. We're from a sales team, about 150 people right now.
Okay. And you started with a very small sales team, right? Or did it just like explode from the very get?
No, I mean, I was the first sales rep in my garage, like, so that's like that. I think some people appreciate, like, my story is like unique from some companies, because when we started my company, I got a newborn. My wife used to like knock on the door of the guest bedroom, and it was me and one of my friends. We'd be making calls, setting up appointments. She like knock on the door and say like, hey, can you guys be quiet? Jackson's sleeping in the other room. And when you pull into our garage, we had medical equipment everywhere. You could barely park a car in the garage. And I mean, it was a true like garage startup. Like there was just paper everywhere in the house. It was crazy. And like finally, about a year and a half later, we moved into office and scaled it.
But when did you reach your first inflection point? Like how long and what really represented that inflection point?
From a growth perspective, we grew pretty consistently the whole time. I'd say the game changer was when we got into our own product development. Instead of developing other people's products, we started doing our own product development, and we really built out that division of the company. We started getting our own patents. We started redoing the chip design. We started rethinking like how we really innovate and be different than everybody else in the market. And then by doing that made, when you start doing that kind of stuff, that makes recruiting a lot easier. It makes, it made funding a lot easier too. So that would be, I'd say if I had to pick one thing in 10 years, the product development that we started 5 years ago really was game changing.
What do you say is like, I'm sure there's a lot of things, right, that contributed to your success, but what were like the main things that contributed to your success that got you to where you are? I know like your sales experience is like a big thing, but obviously a lot of people don't talk about leadership regarding building a team. But like, what do you think are the things that really helped you along the way? Qualities or things that you think benefit you?
I'd say number one, like get a mentor. I started a CEO program 6 years ago through an organization called EO, Entrepreneurs Organization, and that me meeting every month with 10 or 15 other CEOs with ideas has been a game changer. You know, the programs I did at Harvard and MIT, they're not MBA programs. They're just like those study courses. Anybody can sign up for them. If you go to like Harvard, I don't even know what it is, like whatever Harvard website is or MIT website, you can sign up like on strategic thinking and just a different program. So I did a 3-year program through MIT and a 1 year through Harvard. Those just every month coming up with brand new ideas with like how to implement like a new ERP, a new marketing. So that's one, is just find a mentor. I think is really important. I'm always amazed at how many entrepreneurs don't have like a true mentor, somebody they work with closely. I'd say number two, outside the mentor, we run our whole company now. The last 4 years we've gotten, because it's easy to double. If you're $1 million company, you can double to 2 million, and if you're 2 million, you can double to 4. But once you hit like we were 40 million last year, we'll be over 60 million this year, even with all the COVID stuff. And we'll be, that's like the top line revenue, and we run at a really, really high profit margin. So we do have that $100 million valuation, but we run our company off something called a 12-week year. It's a book written by Brian Moran, and the 12-week year says you can do in 1 quarter what it takes everybody else to do in 1 year. So we'll set goals of what we'd want to do, call it in a year, and we compress it down to 12 weeks. And actually, the meeting I just got out this morning, the last 3.5 hours, was all around. I mean, today is the launch in our company. Today is when we launch Q3, because it's, you know, we go 13 weeks, and then now we're on the new 13-week cycle for Q3. Q3 starts today for us in our company. So that's something I think has been really, really, it's something we do that other people don't do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. And I think, you know, one thing I've noticed about you, Jeremy, is that you're just you're very, very resourceful. Like, I think no matter what, you'll make things happen regardless. And so I think it's really interesting to know that you started everything from your garage. I think that's really awesome. You know, not everybody can do that, right? Not everybody's comfortable doing that. A lot of people like on this call like came from Medtronic and are good salaries like that. But how old were you when you started from your garage? Like,
yeah, but here's the thing. I would never. There's a book called Good to Great. And here, oh, dude, look, I got it right here. Look, boom, right in front of you. That's how good it is. Can you hear me? If and one of the first, it's either chapter 1 or chapter 2. It says that good is the enemy of great in the book, and I was making, you got to remember, before I started my own company, I was making $350,000 a year. So it wasn't like, even though I started from the garage and we were very resourceful, I didn't leave a job where I was making horrible money to start my own thing. Like, my wife actually did not want me to start my own company. She's like, you're making really good money. You probably only work 20 to 30 hours a week. I had my sales territory locked down. I could have just probably rode that out for a while, but I always wanted to start my own business. And it was really important for me to look back on life and do that. And so, yeah, and again, being resourceful, like the company that I started was just so medical product geared. I didn't want to go waste money on other stuff. We spent like 95% of our budget on medical equipment so we could sell it and scale. We also didn't pay any salaries. Everybody was 1099, 100% commission. That's how we started the company. Some people had, they worked for distributorships with other implants, and they kind of sold our products on the side. And that's how we started the company. It worked, but we were able to scale that really quick.
So do you want to open this up to questions from the audience?
Yeah, sure.
We have last time. Does anybody have any questions they want to ask Jeremy directly? I mean, this guy, by the way, the only reason Jeremy respects my time now is because I pursued him for like a long, long, long time and made sure.
Yeah, he did.
a podcast with him. We did all this stuff. So he's very busy. It's very unlikely that you'll be able to get a hold of him if you reach out to him on LinkedIn or, I mean, I don't know how open he is, but super busy guy. So if you have any questions, please ask those questions now, because he's just a wealth of knowledge that can help you. So.
Yeah. Jeremy?
Hey.
Hi, this is Stephen Day in Washington, D.C. area. And
hey, Stephen.
How are you, sir? I've enjoyed hearing what you're doing from the bootstrapping up, and we greatly admire that kind of mindset. I'm a mentor as well for George Washington University, Georgetown, a few other universities in this area. So basically, I've mentored by coaching, trying to be patient, and trying not to use a big whip and a big stick. But sometimes my patience runs out. So, but those are for startups, those are life science people in the university level. And, you know, I've been an I-Corps instructor and so forth. He put me to the Steve Blunt program for National Science Value. Here's my question. You are doing extremely well. You've got a big sales force. What is the geographical extent of your market right now? Are you beyond the U.S.? Are you in Canada? Are you in the EU? Are you in Central or East Europe, East Asia? Where are you selling?
Yep. Right now, our vision long term is to be international. Right now, we're in just the United States. We're in 41 states. So our go-to-market strategy is built upon insurance reimbursement. So we work with an orthopedic surgeon, and he or she would write a prescription for a medical product, and then the doctor themselves in the hospital, the surgery center, they don't pay for our device. The insurance companies pay for it. It's like Aetna, Cigna, United Healthcare, and work comp and so on would reimburse us for our product. So because of that, and that's one of like the moats that we created is, you know, if Medtronic want to come in and try and compete with us on what we're doing, they would have to go get like 1,000 insurance contracts. They'd have to build out $1 billion reimbursement team. It's really cumbersome. It'd be a lot of work for them to do it, and it probably wouldn't be worth it. So for us, that's one of the things that kind of keeps the competition away. So to answer your question, yeah, so
consider yourself really a DME, right?
Exactly. We're like everything we bill is all under DME codes, L codes, E codes. So we're definitely DME, but instead of selling your typical DME equipment, we're more focused on that DVT prevention, and that's where that's where like 85% of our revenue comes from, is just the DVT take-home prevention side.
So thank you, Stephen. Appreciate your questions. We want to open up to more questions as well. So we have limited time here. So if anyone has any questions they want to directly ask Jeremy, please ask that now.
Jeremy, I have a question. My name is Clint Baird. I'm by training, I'm a neurosurgeon. I train from Hopkins, and I do spinal surgery. So I appreciate your product, and I've seen it in use. My question goes along the lines of remote patient monitoring. Our company, we're a digital health startup in telemedicine and remote patient monitoring. And so how do you see your product aligning with the DME reimbursables? And then you could essentially align that product with returning some physiologic parameters and other data to align it with remote patient monitoring reimbursement codes. So now you're going to be crossing over DME and professional service reimbursement codes. How do you see that playing out, whether you add in with other product lines or standalone as a niche device?
Have you ever, for your spinal fusions, have you ever used what's called a bone growth simulator?
Oh yeah, of course.
So on the bone growth simulator, there's a CPT code for reimbursement for the compliance monitoring of the bone stem. It doesn't. You could use Biomed, Donjoy, Orthofix, anyone. There's 3 manufacturers on the spine side, and so it's almost identical to that. We're gonna have 3 codes releasing in the next 60 days, and so one of the codes is for compliance, for tracking the DVT unit, how often a patient's using the device. And then it's these CPT codes. So they're not, Frank, just so you understand it too, Clint, you totally get it. It's not, the codes aren't for us. The codes are for the surgeon. So the surgeon would get reimbursed. So it's actually really really cool, Dr. Bear. What we're going to do, we're going to integrate, we integrate a pedometer into the unit. So we're going to track like how many steps a patient takes in a day. So as a surgeon, especially like a total hip, total knee surgeon, they want to know like how, because patients always say, oh yeah, I'm up and walking around. It's like, well, the data says you only took 30 steps. So like your version of walking around might be a little different than what what you think. So you get to see the real data on how often a patient, how many steps they're taking. And then, so that's the first iteration of our unit. The second iteration is going to have blood pressure, heart rate. We're going to track a lot of different other physiological parameters. We believe that by doing that and having real-time analysis, we can prevent readmission rates. We feel like we can also just help with like overall patient satisfaction scores, which will help with the HCAP and different things for hospitals. So that's where I really see. I mean, a lot of people, I shouldn't say I think everybody sees patients moving out of the hospital and into the home, and getting patients out of a hospital quicker into their home. And if you can have more data tied to that, and something that our unit's obviously going to pull data and feedback for a surgeon, but it's also going to prevent blood clots at the same time. So that's kind of, so we'll have 3 codes right out of the gate for the physiological parameters. Our goal is eventually get 5, 6, 7 codes. And if you I don't know if you have your own clinic or what. Do you have like a biller that works for you or?
Yeah, we do our own billing internal.
Yeah, so so I started off with orthopedic spine and neurosurgeons, but it's from a billing perspective, it's nice for the surgeon because they can actually get reimbursed for the time and energy they put into it, which they deserve to get. So
that's excellent. I mean, that's the hook that you'll have in growing your company. You'll have the surgeons. It's an easy sell at that point because they're going to get their reimbursement and you'll get yours.
So we have time for one more really quick question from Chris Wilson. Thanks.
Thank you.
Really appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
Can you hear me okay, Frank?
Yeah.
Great. Jeremy, thank you for your time, and actually Dr. Baird as well. I mean, this is very fitting. We're getting very detailed here, but I'm one of the presenting companies, Edge Surgical. We focus on orthopedic and spine surgical tools. So while you guys are on the topic of spine devices and reimbursement, I thought I would just ask this question. This may be very specific and probably outside the realm of some of the other presenters here, but I'll just ask it anyways. But with regards to reimbursement and neural monitoring, what trends are you seeing? We are seeing that neural monitoring, while it's still a gold standard, whether it's EMG or I see MMG is kind of a newer technology out there, that there may be starting to get some pushback and reimbursement for that type of service. And, what are the reasons behind that? And have you been able to push back? Hopefully that's not too specific.
No, I think it's a phenomenal question. I mean, we're in a little bit different situation because, so like Medicare, so you got to remember, we're billing the insurances, and Medicare came out in the 2019 reimbursements. They actually raised the amount for the monitoring that we do. And this isn't like anything massive. I know some of these other monitoring companies are making like 5,000, 10,000, kind of numbers. Ours was, you got 3 codes that collectively only come out to about $350. I mean, so each code's like anywhere from $80 to $150 per code. Yep. And they're actually, all of our talks with Medicare and consultants, we actually see those raising in the next 5 years because they're trying to they want to push the surgeons to get patients out of the hospital quicker. They want them in the home. So we're really bullish for what we do. And I don't know neuromonitoring that well at all. So I don't know the complexities for that, but I mean, you're going to see, you've already seen it on like physical therapy side, how much they're doing with monitoring and that, the at-home physical therapy stuff that companies are doing. It's pretty remarkable. And there's a lot of codes and reimbursements around that have been increasing. So I can't speak to neuromonitoring specifically. I'm not that educated on it. But in terms of what we do, from the compliance and and Dr. Baird said it it's actually, that's what our patent is on. He almost said it word for word. It's physiological parameters around the DVT unit, remote monitoring of a DVT unit. So that's what we do.
Got it. I appreciate it. Yeah, you know, as you can imagine, with any getting information about insurance, it's not very prevalent out there, and so it's always good to run things by folks who've seen it. So I do appreciate, Jeremy, your thoughts on that.
Hey, Chris, thank you so much for the question, Chris. Really appreciate it. We got to move on to the next speaker. Thank you so much, Jeremy. Really appreciate it, man. We got to do another podcast. The only way I was able to get a hold of Jeremy, by the way, is through podcasting. So how did I get a hold of you? Was it through OnStar that reached out initially or something?
I have like something, I don't even know. I think about like 700 unanswered LinkedIn messages. Like I get sit down for a full week and answer messages on LinkedIn from like insurance brokers and people selling. I mean, it's just, they're mostly all sales stuff. So I would say one side thing, if you're going to send a LinkedIn message like a CEO of a company, those first like 5 words that you actually read on the message better be good, because I don't open it. There's just too much on there. But no, Frank reached out to me and said, hey, we'd love to put you on a podcast. And that was something I wanted to kind of, one of my goals in 2020, or actually middle of 2019, was to start giving back more and teaching entrepreneurs how to build companies. And I flew under the radar, which I think is good to fly under the radar for a while. But I want to help, you know, young entrepreneurs or people starting companies, like what I would have done differently and things I learned. So when you said you want to do a podcast, I was like, yeah, let's do it. So it worked.
The next event. Is that okay?
What's that?
I want to put you on the spot. Can you speak at the next event as well?
Well, anything to help you, man.
Thanks a lot, Jeremy. We appreciate it.